Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us this evening for the special Village Board of Trustees meeting. Today is Thursday, April 30th, 2020. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And once again, let us please remain standing as we remember our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines and Coast Guardsmen serving our country and all of the people across our country inflicted with COVID-19. Thank you.
Just so that we're all clear, the reason why I turn my back is because Village Hall is behind me, and that's where the flag is.
Very good.
I'm
Okay, good
I'm
evening.
facing my yard. I've got a small one in my yard, so that's the way I'm facing.
Good evening, everyone. This is Mayor Ed Markunas. This public meeting on the 2020-2021 tentative budget via teleconference is being held pursuant to Executive Order 202.15 issued by Governor Andrew Cuomo on April 9th, 2020. Executive Order 202.15 was issued to provide for the health and safety of the public during the COVID-19 emergency. This executive order, among other things, suspends Article 7 of the Public Offices Law and permits any public body to hold public hearings remotely through the use of telephone, conference, video conference, and/or other similar service. An audio recording of this teleconference will be posted on the Village of Suffern website. This public meeting was properly noticed and included instructions to the public that public comment may be offered by sending an email to budget@suffernny.gov. Please be advised that in addition to streaming the meeting on Zoom meeting, the special meeting of the Board of Trustees will be streamed through Zoom onto the Village of Suffern Facebook page. The Village of Suffern Facebook public page can be accessed directly using the Facebook app. This information has been posted on the Village of Suffern website. I will now call for the roll call attendance. Trustee Alpert.
Here.
Trustee Barone.
Present.
Trustee Girard.
Present.
Trustee Meegan-Corrigan.
Present.
I am present. Also present on this teleconference are Village Treasurer Michael Janito, Assistant Village Attorney Robert Magrino, and Labor Attorney Richard Glickel. Do we know if Richard Glickel is present?
No, Mayor, he did call in and ask if we needed him, and he was told no, but if we have his number. In the event that we need him, we can call him.
Okay, thank you. So Mr. Glickel is not present. Next upcoming meetings. The next regular meeting of the Village Board of Trustees will be held on Monday, May 4th, 2020 at 7 p.m. At this time, I ask Treasurer Janito to please provide the board with an overview of the proposed 2021 budget. Mr. Janito.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. What we have is a number of changes, which in a short while we'll go over those in terms of the resolution amending the budget. But in the final analysis, after the various changes made by the board, we now have a budget for the general fund with a tax rate of $90.06 per 1,000 taxable assessed value. That means a 3.5% tax rate increase. And on the average median family, single family home, that would typically mean an increase in the village taxes of $126 a year. For the curbside solid waste district, which handles single and multifamily homes in the residential area of Suffern, the budget is going to go, first of all, we had 2 additional units that were added. So we have now 1,870 units. And the fee, annual fee for that refuse and recycling service will increase from $540 to $551. That is an $11 increase. the container solid waste district has an increase from $182 a unit to $207. That's a $25 increase per year. The reason for the increase is primarily because the village had a contract with an independent carting company that handled the refuse and recycling for our condos and co-ops. And that contract ran from 2016 to 2020. It actually expires on May 31 of 2020 and had the same rate for those 4 years. We went out to bid. It was a competitive sealed bid. And of the bids returned, the winning bid is going to actually the same carter that's performing the service today. And they increased their pricing but it's fixed for 2 years at $207 per unit. But that is the reason for that increase. The water fund essentially is remaining the same, meaning that the rates are remaining the same and the amount of money needed to finance that particular department or operation is approximately the same as it was in the last budget. So there really is no change in there in the water fund. In the sewer fund, there was a slight increase where due to the additional costs needed to obviously meet all the compliance of DEC and EPA and so forth. And as most people know, we're under a consent order to make certain corrections to the sewer plant. So just maintaining that is costly, but it didn't go up that much. I mean, it's going to go up on average $24 for the average single family home, $24 a year. And so that is the major summary of the budget. And now I'll just, if you don't mind, I'll go over the changes. So as you know, on the 23rd, the village board adopted a resolution, and that resolution was to make amendments to the budget. It was called Resolution number 86 of 2020. That made adjustments or amendments that were adopted to the tentative budget. And what we're doing with this resolution is rescinding those changes and replacing them with what we have from the time that the tentative budget went to the village board on March 19th until last night when they made all their final adjustments. So this is the total adjustments, and hopefully that's going to prevent any kind of confusion in the future if people are going to look at the budget and try to figure out, you know, what made the change from tentative to the adopted. So here it is. It's kind of lengthy, but bear with us. The village justice contractual is being reduced by $1,000. The contingent account is being reduced by $100,000. Police personal services, that's salaries and wages, are being reduced by $148,725. Police equipment was reduced by $49,000. The fire department equipment is reduced by $2,000. Fire department contractual, $5,480 reduced. The street maintenance contractual is being reduced by $64,000. Snow removal contractual is being reduced by $17,500. Street lighting contractual is being reduced by $16,000. Parking personal services being reduced by $12,350. The recreation personal services are being reduced by $75,788, and that essentially is all of the pool personnel and a part-time position. The recreation contractual is being reduced by $10,500. The community center personal services are being reduced by $7,537. Again, that's a part-time position. And the community center contractual is being reduced by $5,000. The planning board contractual being reduced by $10,000. The curbside solid waste is going to be increased in the contractual, in the employee benefits, the contractual curbside solid waste employee benefits is being increased by $2,000. And the reason for that is, as we make adjustments in the general fund and the water fund and sewer fund, the distribution of employee benefits and the percentages applied to each would change, and that's how that gets affected. The container solid waste contractual, it's going to increase by $43,075. That's the increase in the contract we mentioned for carting and recycling for the co-ops and condominiums. State retirement employee benefits over the general fund is going to decrease by 6,800. Social Security employee benefits are going to decrease by 16,800. The MTA commuter tax is going to decrease by 700, and life insurance is going to decrease by 2,500. So there's a net decrease in the general fund appropriations of 526,605. For the, did somebody want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I think you might have skipped one item when you were doing the solid waste. There was also the contractual. That was a reduction.
Yeah, the curbside solid waste contractual is being reduced by 20,000.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you. The decrease in the recreation, now we go to the revenues for the general fund. The recreation concessions, that is the snack stand at the pool, is decreased by 5,000, and the pool fees are decreased by 49,000. The curbside solid waste fees, because of generally the decrease in contractual, is going to decrease by 18,000. The container solid waste fees, as we mentioned, it's the same increase of 43,075. Interest earnings was put into the budget, as you know, for $40,000, so there's an increase there. There's an increase under miscellaneous gifts and donations of $5,000. That represents the very generous gift of the Vincent Karate Foundation, which they made known to us yesterday, and in fact, they've actually have a check waiting for us to pick up for $5,000. That is going to help pay for the meals for the senior citizens. That
was very special. Once again, thank you to the Karate Foundation.
Yes. As a result of all of those changes, the real property tax levy was reduced by 542,680. So the net decrease in general fund revenues equals the net decrease in the appropriations of 526,605. We also note that there was a net decrease in our taxable assessed value that was equivalent to $12,100. That's as a value. It's the water fund. We go to the water fund, and we're going to go to the appropriations first. There's a net increase of $97, which is actually very immaterial, but very quickly, we had a decrease in personal services of $703, and then we had an increase in state retirement of total of $3,400, and a decrease in the life insurance of $100, and a decrease in the contractual for $2,500. So again, that's a net change of $97 in appropriations, and obviously that's made up in water sales. The sewer fund has a total net decrease of $13,708 in appropriations and in their sewer rents. And of the appropriations, $703 is associated as a decrease with personal services. There was an increase in the state retirement of $2,000 and a decrease in contractual of $15,000. So there were no decreases or changes in the debt service fund, and that basically accounts for all of our changes that should be adopted with that resolution. And so we've already gone over the rates and so forth, but I'll just go over the final resolution that would be adopted by the village board, which adopts the various budgets. And here's what they amount to. For the general fund, the appropriation total is $15,904,774. We take from there the estimated revenues other than real property taxes of $4,020,841. That's 4,020,841. That leaves us with a real property tax levy of $11,883,933. And a taxable assessed valuation of $131,966,754 brings us to a tax rate per 1,000 taxable assessed value of $90.06. For the curbside solid waste district, the appropriations were $1,028,670. We have 1,870 units, 1,870 units. So the annual service charge per unit is $551. The container solid waste district that services condos and co-ops has a total budget of $356,661, and we have 1,723 units, leaving us with a per unit rate of $207. For the water fund, The total appropriations were $2,158,760, and estimated revenues other than water rents were $30,500, leaving the amount to be raised by metered water sales of $2,128,260. Our minimum charge for up to 10 units is $35. For the portion over 10 but less than 71 units is $371, and for the portion over 70 units is $484. That's $4.84. That's for the rates within the village. For those who have use our water and live outside the village limits, the minimum charge for up to 10 units is $60, and for the portion over 10 units, it's $5.57 per unit. On the sewer fund, the appropriations were $2,677,798, less estimated revenues other than sewer rents of $20,550, brings us the amount to be raised by sewer rents as $2,657,248. For those using the sewer and that happen to live within the village limits, the sewer rates are based on the water usage. So the minimum charge is $25, and for every unit of water consumed, it's $12.36. For those living outside the village limits, the minimum charge is also $25, but the per unit of water consumed is $15.45. And the debt service fund, the appropriations are $1,155,981, and all of that money, or the revenues, come in from as transfers from the water fund, the general fund, and the sewer fund in accordance with how they borrowed money. And just a quick note on that, while we're on the debt service fund, we actually have a reduction in the debt service fund this year, and that's primarily because we refinanced our bonds. It's called refunding. In 2020, this fiscal year, we refunded our old bonds from 2007 and 2012 that had higher interest rates, and we were able to achieve a savings this year alone, this forthcoming year alone, of $37,486. That's a 3.1% decrease in our total cost for debt service on our serial bonds because we essentially refinanced them. And so that's it in a nutshell, Mayor, and I want to thank and congratulate the board for doing a good job on the budget.
Thank you, Mr. Janito. So at this time, I'll read the resolution for the rescinding of resolution 86 of 2020 and adopting changes to the tentative budget for fiscal year ending May 31, 2021. Whereas Section 5-508 of Village Law provides that the 2020-2021 budget for fiscal year ending May 31, 2021 must be adopted on or before May 1st, 2020. And whereas the 2020-2021 tentative budget was transmitted by the village clerk to the village board on March 9th, and whereas public hearings on a tentative budget, the proposed 2020-21 water rates and the proposed 2020-21 sewer rates were held on April 6th and April 23rd. And whereas the village board of the Village of Suffern adopted Resolution 86 of 2020 on April 23rd of 2020, amending the tentative budget. And whereas the members of the village board have proposed amendments to the tentative budget in addition to the amendments adopted in Resolution 86 of 2020, and whereas the village board has determined that it is preferred and appropriate to rescind Resolution 86 of 2020 and replace it with a new resolution that incorporates all of the changes proposed and approved by the village board since March 19th, 2020. Now therefore be it resolved that the village board of Suffern that the Village Board of Suffern does hereby rescind Resolution 86 of 2020, and be it further resolved that the Village Board of the Village of Suffern adopts the following amendments to the tentative budget, as Mr. Janito reviewed. I'd like to call for a motion to approve the resolution.
Motion, Trustee Barone.
Trustee Barone, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, trustee Alpert. Do I have any discussion?
Yes, I just wanted to correct the date. You said that the budget was transmitted to the board. You said it was March 9th, but it's actually March 19th. Just wanted to clarify that.
Oh, I'm sorry. March 19th.
Just for the record, I just wanted to be accurate. That's all.
Fine. Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, I'd like to take a roll call vote. Trustee Alpert,
Yes.
trustee Girard,
Yes.
trustee Barone,
Yes.
trustee Meegan-Corrigan,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Motion passes. Okay, I have the next resolution. Resolution to adopt the fiscal year 2020-2021 budgets for the general fund, including this curbside solid waste district and the container solid waste district, the water fund, the sewer fund, and the debt service for fiscal year ending May 31, 2020. Whereas Section 5-508 of Village Law provides that the 2021 budget for fiscal year ending May 31, 2021 must be adopted on or before May 1st. And whereas the 2021 tentative budget were prepared and transmitted by the village clerk to the village board on March 19th, 2020. And whereas public hearings on the tentative budgets, the proposed 2020-2021 water rates and the proposed 2020-21 sewer rates were held on April 14th and closed on April 23rd, 2020. And whereas a public hearing on adopting a local law authorizing a property tax levy in excess of the limit established in General Municipal Law, Section 3C, for the fiscal year ending May 31, 2020, was held on April 14th, 2020, and closed on April 23rd, 2020.
Mayor,
Yes?
at that point, I was going to suggest you add, whereas the board received public comment through April 29th, 2020. Received public comment thereon, I should say.
Through what date did you say, Mr. Magrino?
April 29th, 2020.
And whereas the board also received public comment through April
29,
29th, I'm sorry, there you go.
2020.
And whereas on April 30th, 2020, the Village Board of Trustees adopted a resolution amending the tentative budget. Now therefore be it resolved that the Village Board of the Village of Suffern does hereby adopt the 2020-2021 budgets for the general fund, including the curbside solid waste district and the container solid waste district, the water fund, the sewer fund, and the debt service fund fiscal year ending May 31, 2021 as follows and as was reviewed by Treasurer Janito. Do I have a motion to approve the resolution?
Motion, trustee Alpert.
Trustee Alpert, do I have a second?
Second, trustee Corrigan.
Trustee Corrigan, do I have any discussion?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank everyone for their hard work from getting down from a proposed 8.3% down to 3.5% and coming in below the New York State tax cap as well for the levy. And it's also incidentally at 3.5%, it's roughly exactly half of what last year's tax increase was. So I think we all did a good job, and I wanted to congratulate everybody for the hard work that everyone did.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. I'll call for a roll call vote. Trustee Alpert,
Yes.
Trustee Girard,
Yes.
Trustee Barone,
Yes.
Trustee Meegan-Corrigan,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Motion passes. The budget is hereby adopted. I also would like to thank the entire board on their dedication and hard work towards this budget, and great job by everyone.
Mayor, I think it's proper to set a public hearing date for a local law to rescind local law number 5 of 2020, which was establishing the override of the tax cap. That local law, I believe, if you want to rescind it, has to be adopted and filed with the Secretary of State on or before June 21.
Do I have a motion to set a public hearing to rescind the property tax cap levy increase for June 1st at 7:05?
Motion.
Motion trustee Alpert,
Second, trustee Corrigan.
second trustee Corrigan. Any further discussion?
Is there, I'm just curious, is there any reason not to do it any sooner or none?
The notice, we have to notice the public hearing. We don't have enough time to do it for
Yeah.
this Monday.
Okay, got it. Perfect. Just wanted to ask. Thank you.
The deadline is June 21, I believe.
That's still plenty of time. Just wanted to ask if there was any particular reason. Thank you.
That's fine. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay, motion passes.
Mayor, before the end of the meeting, Joe Hunt wanted to have a few words.
Yes, just give me 1 second. Okay, I just have a few words myself. So last night I did receive feedback from residents who were concerned about my statements regarding an executive session that took place to discuss staffing matters. Some residents expressed concerns that it appeared that I had not been truthful or forthright. Under these circumstances, I need to set the record straight about the statements that were made last night. What Trustee Girard said about my participation on the proposed layoffs of 2 full-time recreation staff struck me to my core. And yesterday, after last night's meeting, I needed to reflect on what I said to the trustees in executive session. After the meeting last night, I reviewed all of my notes and emails and realized that I didn't have the answers that the residents expected. As the trustees indicated, we did enter into an executive session to discuss personnel, which included parking, recreation, pool staff in the executive session. I called the meeting because I was concerned about the impact of COVID emergency that was going on in the parking, and that was going to have an impact on the parking department. The village had received guidance from the state that municipalities should have prepared for a significant decrease in parking revenue due to the COVID, and the strong possibility that even after the stay-at-home orders are lifted, people will continue to plan with employers to work from home as much as possible. I recall discussing the possibility of layoffs related to parking with the board, and that the village should not continue staffing parking with the newly hired part-time parking enforcement aide. Closing the pool along with removing the funding for seasonal employees and uniforms was also considered. I put forth the recommendation to repurpose the full-time recreational staff during the pandemic. I went as far as to offer different ideas for physical distancing recreational activities, such as outdoor activities for seniors, youth programs throughout the village parks, and holding blood drives to help with the COVID-19 pandemic, just to name a few. My recommendations were not acceptable to the board, and more drastic personal staffing reductions were presented by the board. The board and I requested the staff salaries associated cuts with the pool operations from the treasurer. After leaving the meeting, I was under the impression that the full-time recreation staff would remain in place, though I was concerned already about the possibility that the board may be leaning otherwise. I was expecting to review the impact on the recreation budget after Treasurer Janito evaluated the budgetary changes to closing the pool, the part-time pool staff and the part-time lifeguards, as well as the elimination of the new parking enforcement aide position. The treasurer provided the information in an email to the board as requested. Upon my review, I asked the treasurer to break down the salaries per employee, and he did. Upon further calculations, I determined that the cost for our 2 full-time recreational employees was approximately $36 a year per homeowner. I called the treasurer to confirm my calculations of approximately $36 per household. I also called two trustees to express my concern and that they may be continuing to evaluate eliminating the 2 roles. So I provided them with the cost per homeowner to maintain these vital services. And I'm thankful we did. When the board submitted their recommendations to lay off the entire recreation staff, except the department head, I immediately expressed my concerns and objections to the treasurer. However, since the changes were transmitted to the treasurer by the board, Treasurer Janito applied the board's recommended adjustments to the tentative budget. I then called for a special meeting on Tuesday, April 28th at 7 p.m. to review and adopt final budget changes so as to be as transparent as possible to the public. The board objected to the meeting, stating, "I don't see a need for the additional meeting. Please explain why you feel we need it." When the changes were transmitted to the treasurer to be included in the tentative budget and the tentative budget was published, it became a public document, which was posted on the village website. Also, I confirmed with legal counsel that the document is actually a public document and should be posted on the website. I firmly believe that since the previous changes were adopted by resolution at a public meeting held on April 23rd, 2020, the final proposed changes should also be reviewed at a public meeting on Tuesday, April 28th. My intention to schedule Tuesday's meeting was to be fully transparent, to object to the board's proposals before a formal adoption of the 2021 budget meeting. I believe it was right to hold a public meeting, even though the board objected and allowed changes to be simply put through at the last minute without public understanding the potential impact. If I was misunderstood, I want to ensure you all, it was not intentional or done with malice. The board has put a great deal of time and effort into this budget process, and many discussions amongst the board members have taken place. Rather than speak out against Mr. Girard's accusations, I believe it was right for me to reflect fully on what I said to the trustees in executive session before I spoke. I apologize for any misunderstanding. And as one resident said last night, we are all responsible for what we say and how we say it to one another during the course of our meetings. And I take full responsibility for that. This budget process, more so than ever before, has been difficult on the residents, the village staff, the board, and me. Things have been said. The things that have been said will take time for those affected to overcome. This is a challenge for the board I face, and I will assure you that this profound understanding will be achieved. So I do thank all of you. It was a very challenging process, and I believe you did a great job. I would actually like to take one more minute, and I once again like to take this opportunity to thank our entire village board, our village staff, our village treasurer, Bruce Simon, and there's one special person that I need to really thank for our outstanding service, Miss Amy Paffenroth, our village clerk, who goes above and beyond on a daily basis. She's in this office sometimes upwards of 14 to 15 hours, and I truly appreciate everything she does for the Village of Suffern. Thank you, and thank you for all you do. And Mr. Joe Hunt, if he would like to speak.
Okay, Mayor, let me bring him up. Joe is still with us there. Joe, are you there? Joe Hunt? Joe, you're unmuted now if you want to speak. Let me see if he's on another line. Hold on a second. Joe, are you on this line?
I am on this line. Can you hear me?
Well, don't log in as two people, please. There's too many of you as it is. Okay, Joe, go ahead.
Well, this is Joseph.
Oh,
On behalf of the CSEA mayor, board members, Michael, Amy, and everybody else that participated in this budget and works day in and day out to keep this village up and running, the CSEA wants to thank you. And on behalf of region and county, my presidents there want to thank you too for not taking any of my members away from me. Thank you again, board members, if you can hear me.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. We appreciate everything that the CSEA does for this village, and I'm sure that everyone, I can tell you that I receive phone calls on a daily basis in regards to the service that you provide to our residents. So thank you as staff also.
Thank you, sir. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
You
Take
as
care.
well, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you for all your help, Joe. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Trustees, would you like to make any comments?
I would, but I'm going to leave them for another time.
Good work done by all.
Yeah, great job, everybody. Mr. Mayor, just to make sure we don't have any confusion, let's all try to leave an executive session feeling like we have a consensus, because that's how I felt when we left that meeting. And obviously you're saying you didn't, but let's just strive to do that going forward. If somebody has an issue, call it out before the meeting. Make sure we're not leaving on different pages unless that's clear.
Agree,
Okay.
Paul.
Very good. Anyone else? Okay, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting, to close the meeting, excuse me.
Motion, Gerard.
Motion, Paul Girard.
Second, Barone.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Uh,
Thank you very much. Have a good evening and stay safe and healthy, all. Everyone that's out there that's listening to us virtually on Zoom or on Facebook, thank you for attending. Have a good evening.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.